Hello Libra, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus, and welcome to your reading. So Libra, today we're going to go over your energy as well as your person's energy. So with all that being said, Libra, let's get started. How does Libra currently view this relationship? All right, Libra. So we do have the Ace of Swords, we do have the Knight of Swords, and then we also have the Seven of Pentacles out here. This doesn't feel like your energy. With the Knight of Swords coming out here, I feel like you're receiving unexpected communication from who, I don't know, but we're going to look a little bit more into this energy. I do feel like this communication, though, that you're going to find yourself receiving from this particular person might shock you or possibly even surprise you. But let's focus on you and your energy really quickly here. Right now, I just see you very, very focused on your growth, your expansion, your finances, your career, your business if you have one. Nothing more, nothing less. It just kind of looks like you've been dumping a lot of time and energy towards your career or your business, right? If you have one. But let's look at this person. Tell me more about the Knight of Swords. Okay. Whoever this person is, it's somebody who has been wanting to extend themselves to you. Could be a water sign strongly, so a Cancer, Scorpio, maybe even a Pisces or an earth sign or a fire sign. Either which way though, regardless of this person's actual zodiac sign, it kind of looks like they're finding like the strength and the courage within themselves to like finally, you know, reach out to you. But there's a lot of hesitancy in their energy as far as extending themselves to you is concerned. Now, whoever this person is, it's definitely somebody that you were once upon a time romantically involved with. You could have recently experienced an ending here with this person. It's definitely a possibility. But if it's one thing that I will say, is that this is somebody who, I'll give them that. I feel like this person really did try, you know what I mean? To like get over you, to move forward and, you know, move on with their life. But it's like they just feel like they can't. They just feel like they can't. I think it is, you know, safe to say that they're still in love with you. I mean, they did show up as the King of Cups, but I feel like the level of hesitancy coming from this person has a lot to do with the way things essentially came to an end. Maybe things ended on a really bad note. Maybe this person's under the impression that you don't want to, like, you know, hear from them. That's a huge, huge possibility. But whatever was stopping this person from extending themselves to you is no longer stopping them, is what I'm gathering. All right, let's look a little bit more into them, and then we'll jump back over to you, Libra. How does this person currently view this relationship? If it's one thing that I will say is that they're very determined to manifest a brand new beginning with you into fruition. They just want to start over, you know? They just want the two of you to just kind of leave the past in the past and just simply start over with one another. We'll see. We'll see how you feel about all of this. How does Libra feel? All right, so we do have the Magician, we do have the Two of Wands, and then we also have the Nine of Swords. When this person resurfaces back up here for you, because they will, that's kind of besides the point. At this point, it's a matter of when. It's no longer a matter of if anymore, okay? It just kind of looks like you're a little torn on what you should do. Like, should you honestly take this person back? Is it really a good idea to take this person back? Or should you just kind of keep things as is, right? Between the two of you, which is basically over. It kind of looks like you just don't know, you know, whether to go left or to go right. I just kind of feel like you want to avoid making a mistake. Like, you don't want to take this person back and then eventually regret it. But then you also don't want to walk away from this entire situation and then regret it. You see what I mean? Like, that's kind of like what I see going on with you in reference to this person resurfacing back up here for you, okay? How does this person... Okay, let's see. This person feels pretty confident that they still have a fighting chance with you. Now, I'm not saying that this person does have a fighting chance with you, okay? They just feel like they still have a fighting chance here. With you. So they feel pretty confident. Moral of the story, that they could be able to essentially get you back. They just kind of feel like deep down inside, like you still want them and what you guys once upon a time had with one another. They definitely still want you and what they once upon a time had with you, but they genuinely do feel like, okay, like, I don't know, like I just feel like Libra still loves me. Libra still cares about me. Libra still wants me. So, you know, I might have a fighting chance here. Like, that's like the vibe that I'm getting here from this person. I do want to look at the Nine of Swords really quickly though. Tell me more about the Nine of Swords for Libra, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. You and this person could have had a very on and off relationship with one another. The only reason why I say that is because the Knight of Wands can definitely represent somebody who's very in and out of your life. And it could just be because you guys had a very on and off relationship. But that's only going to apply for those of you who had a very on and off relationship with this person. But tell me more about the Nine of Swords. I am getting when you were with this person, a lot of you felt like this person wasn't as invested into this relationship as you were. A lot of you essentially felt like this person never really loved you and or cared about you and this dynamic that the two of you once upon a time had with one another. The Seven of Swords coming out here in the reverse, this could definitely imply that you were dealing with somebody who was constantly self-sabotaging this dynamic here between the two of you, left and right. I'm also getting that you definitely could have found something out about this person, like maybe something about this person, you know, came to light. This could also imply that maybe you didn't necessarily trust this person when you were with them. But with the Four of Pentacles coming out here, it's like the moment you released this individual out of your life, you no longer found yourself experiencing anxiety and or stress. Because it kind of looks like when you were with this person, you were under a massive state of stress because you didn't trust them, or because you felt like they weren't, you know, taking you in this relationship that they, you know, once upon a time had with you seriously. And it could just be because they were constantly making poor decision after poor decision and constantly self-sabotaging this left and right. A lot of you feel like if you were to take this person back, you're going to find yourself back at square one. You know what I mean? Dealing with somebody that you don't trust, dealing with somebody that you feel is not really serious about you in this dynamic, you know, that the two of you once upon a time had with one another, and you don't want to go back to that. But at the same exact time, it's like you find yourself wondering, like, but what if, you know, things might be better this time around? What if things might be different this time around? We're going to pull some advice to see what you should do. At the end of the day, Libra, it is your life. Regardless of what advice comes out, you know, for you, do what's best for you, right? But before we get into the advice, let's see what actions they plan on taking in your direction and are moving forward. Well, we already know that this person plans on contacting you and trying their hardest to pull a reconciliation off with you. So we already know all of that. So let's see. Okay. So we have the Hermit, we do have the Moon, and then we also have the you might tell this person that you need some time to think about it. I see this person trying to give you like space to think, okay? Which is kind of making me feel like that's exactly what you're gonna hit them with. Like, oh, like, I don't know. I just need some time to really think about this, you know? Because I do see them giving you time and space to think about it, but the King of Swords to the Moon, they just don't think that that might be a good idea. As far as like giving you time and space to think about it. Let's see why. Tell me more about the King of Swords to the Moon. Tell me more about the King of Swords to the Moon. Yeah, this is just acting as a double confirmation that they're giving you time and space to think, you know, about whether or not you do want to work this out or not. But I keep getting that this person doesn't think that it's a good idea to give you time and space to think about it. Tell me more about the King of Swords. You have the King of Pentacles in the reverse to the Eight of Wands. They kind of feel like there's like okay, so like this person feels, right? Like if they give you time and space to think about it, right? They fear that you're going to find yourself dwelling, right, on the past and, you know, the way that they treated you and the way that they were with you. And they feel like, and this is just them assuming, right? But this person thinks, right, that you're going to spend this time, right, dwelling on how they treated you, dwelling on how they did you, dwelling on the way that they went about this relationship, and they fear that in the end you're going to decide to not take them back, which is something that they don't want. Yeah, the Five of Wands in the reverse, and then we also have the Tower and the upright. They just kind of fear that that's kind of what's going to end up happening here. You're going to start thinking about the past and how they treated you. And it's going to cause you to not want to take them back. At the bottom of the deck, we do have the Knight of Pentacles in the upright. And then we also have the Page of Cups in the reverse. They kind of feel like, and this is just them assuming, right? This person feels like if they don't give you time and or space to think about it and just show you how serious they are and show you how determined they are, you know, to like get you back and make this work, they kind of feel like they would have like a much better chance, right, at getting you back. But they also don't want to like make it seem, right, like they're not respecting how you feel either. Because they kind of feel like, if, man, it's like they kind of find themselves caught between a rock and a hard place now that I think about it. Because it's like this person feels, right, like if they just go about this entire situation the way that they really want to, right, being consistent, being persistent, pining after you, showing you how much they've changed and how determined they are to make this marriage and a relationship work and yada, yada, yada. Like they feel like you're going to take that as a sign of, well, you're not respecting how I feel. I told you that I needed time. I told you that I needed space. And I feel like they fear that if they go about it the way that they want to, it's going to backfire in their face and it's going to cause you to essentially feel like they're not respecting how you feel. And if it makes you feel like they're not respecting, you know, how you feel, the likelihood of you wanting, you know, to like take them back, you know, might turn into like an all-time low, you know what I mean? They don't want that either. So it's like, Jesus Christ, they find themselves caught between a rock and a hard place. I feel like they currently find themselves in a situation that's kind of out of their control, you know, and it kind of looks like they don't like it, you know, because the ball is in your court and they know it. I just kind of feel like they want to do something, you know, on their behalf to like make sure that this entire situation goes the way that they want it to, right? Okay. What actions? Yeah. The very thing that they feared you were going to do is the very thing that you're doing. You're reflecting on your relationship with this person, how they were with you and how they treated you. You're kind of coming down to this conclusion that, yo, like, there's no way that this person, like, loves me, because if they love me, I don't understand why they would put me through this. I don't understand why they would put me through that. I don't understand why they would make me feel like this. And I don't understand why they would make me feel like that. Well, you're dealing with somebody who harnesses King of Swords like energy and King of Cups like energy. And people who typically find themselves dealing with somebody who harnesses this energy tends to, you know, experience what you're basically experiencing, right? Which is an energy of, there's times where they make me feel like they love me and care about me, and there's times where they make me feel like they can care less about me, right? Because you kind of went through a whole lot of that. The King of Swords is somebody who tends to operate from a place of ego and pride. A King of Cups is somebody who tends to operate from a place of love. So it kind of looks like you experience both versions, you know, of this person. So, you know, one day you might experience this King of Swords version, which is somebody who, you know, can be very cold, very egoistic, things of that nature. But there's like days where you tend to experience this side of them, right? Which is, you know, somebody who's very loving, affectionate, caring, thoughtful, generous, sweet, nice. I mean, the list goes on and on. So it makes sense, you know, as to why you feel like, you know, this person never really loved you and or cared about you. And I feel like, you know, the reason why you feel this way is because there was times where they were operating from a place of ego and pride, you know, unfortunately, which led you to think and believe, wait a minute, this person never really loved me and or cared about me. I can't say that they never loved you and or cared about you, but I understand, you know, why you're looking at this person like they never loved you and or cared about you. I understand. I just kind of feel like there was times, you know, where they were operating from a place of ego and pride. And there were times where they were operating from a place of love and affection, you know. You experience both versions of them. So I can't say that this person doesn't love you, and I can't say that they were never like emotionally invested because it keeps showing up that they were. But I also understand, you know, why you look at this person like, nah, like they never loved me and cared about me. So I also understand. I understand. Completely understand. So here's the thing. Because you're spending a lot of time thinking about how they did you, how they made you feel, how the marriage made you feel, how the relationship made you feel, it kind of has you, you know, leaning more towards going back is just simply not a good idea. Let's see how they're going to respond and react to all of this. How is this person going to respond and react to all of this? Okay, so we do have the Temperance card to the Ten of Cups, and then we also have the World, but it came on the reverse. When I tell you this person refuses to allow this cycle to close out, oh, I mean that. You can sit here and tell this person in the end, because that's exactly what I see you doing, I just can't do this. I'm sorry. I just can't. I can't. They're gonna try to convince you. They're gonna try to convince you into giving them another chance. They're gonna try to, like, you know, convince you that they do love you, that they do care about you, and that they don't want to essentially lose you, even though you seem to genuinely think, believe, and feel otherwise, which is totally understandable. It's totally understandable why you feel that way, you know? I feel like the moment you started experiencing this version of them, your perspective of them started to change. It's like you go from looking at this person like, oh my God, they really do love me and they really do care about me, and then boom, when this other version and or side came out of them, your whole perception of them, it drastically changed, and it drastically changed, you know, forever, because who's to say, right, that this version of them is not going to resurface and or reappear if you do turn around and take them back? Who's to say, you know, that that's not going to end up happening, right? Totally understandable. Yeah, they kind of knew that this would happen, that you would find yourself thinking about everything that they put you through and deciding in the end to not want to take them back. But they're very determined to get you back. What advice can you give me for Libra? We have the Page of Pentacles. We do have the Emperor. And then we also have the Ten of Pentacles. Okay. Your life, you do what you want with it, no matter what, okay? So we have the Page of Pentacles to the Emperor to the Ten of Pentacles. I do feel like you are being advised by Spirit to continue to remain on the path that you're currently on, which is a path of you focusing on you, your growth, your expansion, your finances, and or your career, okay? This is like Spirit's way of saying, hey, this path that you're currently on, you need to continue to remain on it. And here's why, okay? Here's why. This is who this person is, okay? This is who this person is. And there is no changing that. There is no changing that. This person harnesses a lot of fixed energy. This is kind of like the epitome of what you see is what you get type of situation. So I say all that to say this: if you didn't like the way this person treated you or made you feel back then, you ain't gonna like it this time around, because they are who they are. You know what I mean? They are who they are. And it kind of looks like, you know, there was certain times where you absolutely loved the way that this person was with you, the way that they treated you, but then there was times where you absolutely freaking hated it. You know what I mean? So if you didn't like your marriage with this person back then, or your relationship with this person back then, you ain't gonna like it this time around. They could sit here and tell you, I'm gonna change, I'm gonna do better, I'm gonna work on this, I'm gonna work. They could sit there and tell you whatever they want, okay? They are who they are. This is like, think of it this way, because this is like the best way that I can like kind of, you know, yeah, just think of it this way, Libra. Let's just say, hypothetically speaking, this person's Asian, okay? They are Asian, but they're gonna try to sit here and convince you, no, like, I'm really, really Puerto Rican, I promise I am, you know what I mean? When we know good and goddamn well that they're not, you know what I mean? Like, they're Asian. They're always going to be Asian. They can walk like a Puerto Rican. They can talk like a Puerto Rican, but they're never going to be Puerto Rican. And it is what it is, okay? And that is okay. You know what I mean? That is okay. You know, like, just to put things into perspective, that this is who they are. This is who they are. And it's never going to change. They could pretend to be somebody that they're not for like a month and or two, but at the end of the day, they're always going to resort right back to who they are because they are who they are. And there is no changing that. You know what I mean? So don't let this one over here, you know, try to fool you into essentially thinking that they're going to change or that they're going to do better, because they're not. This is just who they are, you know? As much as they want to be Puerto Rican, they're never going to be Puerto Rican. And that's okay. You know what I mean? It is what it is. It is what it is. They are who they are. And dealing with somebody, you know, like this, oh man. A King of Swords, man, to a King of Cups. This is that type of person that has the ability to play with your head and your heart. They just do. A King of Swords is really good at messing with people's head, but a King of Cups is somebody who's really good at messing with a person's heart. And it kind of looks like you already been there, done that. They already messed with your head, and they already messed with your heart. Don't give them the chance or the opportunity to do it again, okay? Continue to remain on the path that you're currently on. Like I said, it is your life, you know, but I highly recommend that you take Spirit's advice on this, because at the end of the day, I mean, I want to see you happy. You know, I want to see you thrive, and I want to see you excel. And I think that if you continue to remain on this path that you're currently on, you will experience a lot of growth, a lot of expansion, a lot of abundance, stability, success, all of that good stuff. Like, and you're going to be happy, and you're going to be at peace. You know what I mean? Which is also something that I really, really do want, you know, for you and everyone at that, you know. So I do hope that you take Spirit's advice on this and you continue to remain on the path that you're currently on, because you deserve nothing but the best, okay? So with that being said, my friend, that is what I have for you. Hopefully the reading helped. Hopefully it resonated. And I will see you guys in your next reading. Bye.